it started as an ordinary night in a small apartment above a laundromat. A lone man, staring at lines of code, thought he was chasing routine anomalies. But what he found wasn't just a mistake. It was a trace, from someone who had been declared dead. Someone who shouldn't exist, yet still moved in the shadows of the digital world. A brilliant mind, vanished years ago, now leaving whispers in the code. And one man is about to discover, some presences can't be killed. They can't be erased. They can only watch, and wait. It started as an ordinary night in a cramped apartment above a laundromat in downtown Austin. Rain tapped against the window in a steady rhythm, and the hum of computers filled the air. Liam Carter, a freelance cybersecurity analyst, leaned back in his chair and rubbed his eyes. He'd been staring at the same lines of code for hours, hunting for anomalies in a string of federal network logs leaked online. It wasn't glamorous work, but it paid the bills, and sometimes, it paid better than the bills. That night, the anomaly appeared. At first, Liam thought it was a mistake. A misconfigured server, a delayed timestamp. But as he scrolled through the logs, the pattern became undeniable. Someone had accessed a classified system last week, a system that, by every official record, hadn't been touched in over a decade. The kicker. The user account belonged to someone officially declared dead 5 years ago. Liam leaned forward. He ran the query again, double-checking the ID number. The name was familiar, Dr. Nathan Hale. A cybersecurity prodigy for the federal government, Hale had vanished without explanation. Some said he died in a hiking accident in the Rockies. Others whispered darker theories, foul play, a disappearance engineered by someone who wanted him erased from existence. But everyone agreed, Nathan Hale was gone. And yet, here he was. The first feeling was disbelief. The second was a prickling sense of unease. Liam knew enough about digital footprints to recognize this wasn't sloppy hacking. Whoever was behind this knew the system intimately. They weren't wandering into government servers, they were leaving deliberate traces, almost as if they wanted someone to find them. He leaned back and rubbed his temples. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, and the apartment was quiet except for the low hum of his machines. He opened a secure terminal and traced the connection. VPN tunnels twisted like a labyrinth, servers appeared only briefly before vanishing, and IP addresses led to dead ends. Yet the logs always came back to the same signature, the same unique coding style that only one person could leave behind. Nathan Hale. The next morning, Liam visited the university where Hale had taught cybersecurity workshops. The building was nearly empty, students milling between classes. Liam asked around, careful under the guise of academic curiosity. Professors remembered Hale, spoke of him in hushed tones. Brilliant, obsessive, withdrawn. One old lecturer paused when Liam mentioned the hacking rumors and whispered something he would later repeat in his dreams: he could disappear, and you'd never know he left. He wanted it that way. Back at his apartment, Liam dug deeper. Using every tool at his disposal, he began reconstructing the digital trail. Hours blurred into days. And the more he uncovered, the more it felt less like a simple hack and more like someone was communicating with him through the systems. Subtle anomalies, lines of code that didn't belong, timestamps slightly off, directories with hidden messages, hinted at intelligence behind them. One line in particular caught his eye: if you're reading this, you know the truth isn't over. Liam's hands shook as he realized the implication. Someone alive, someone claiming to be dead, was watching. And they were playing a game, one he hadn't agreed to. He reached out to a former colleague, a hacker known in the underground as Viper. Viper had connections Liam didn't. Together, they traced some of the activity to servers in remote locations, places that, on paper, didn't exist. A cabin in the woods, an abandoned data center, a private residence with no records. Everywhere they looked, the trail ended abruptly, like smoke in the wind. But the access continued. Night after night, Liam would see new entries. Sometimes subtle, a single document moved, a file time-stamped differently than it should have been. Sometimes blatant, almost theatrical, as though Hale, or whoever was behind it, wanted to be noticed. One late night, Liam found something that froze him. A video file, hidden deep in an encrypted folder, labeled simply, "Watch." He hesitated, fingers hovering over the enter key. Then he clicked. The screen flickered. For a moment, all he saw was static. Then a face emerged, pale, worn, but unmistakable. Nathan Hale. Older than he remembered from conference footage, but unmistakably him. The video was brief. Hale didn't speak, didn't explain. He simply stared at the camera, eyes unblinking. Then, in the file's metadata, appeared a single line, "They can't kill what exists in code." Liam's heart pounded. It was impossible. Hale had been officially declared dead 5 years ago. Yet here he was, alive, or at least, alive enough to leave digital fingerprints. Over the following weeks, Liam became obsessed. He barely slept, barely ate. He followed the trails, mapped the servers, catalogued every anomaly. Slowly, he began to see patterns buried in the chaos, riddles hidden in lines of code, references to old government programs, declassified projects, experiments in digital surveillance. Every discovery deepened the mystery. Then, one night, a new log appeared, with a message embedded, "Meet me where the data dies." Liam had no idea what it meant. No IP address, no location, nothing. But something in the phrasing chilled him. Where the data dies. Servers don't die, they're erased, wiped, overwritten. Was it literal? Metaphorical? Or a trap? Against his better judgment, Liam followed the trail. It led him to a decommissioned government relay station on the outskirts of the city. The building was abandoned, rusted, broken windows, weeds growing through concrete. He checked the perimeter. Nothing seemed alive. But inside, a terminal blinked, a single cursor waiting. He typed the simplest question, "Who's there?" The response appeared immediately, "Nathan Hale." Liam froze. He tried to reason it out. A deepfake? A sophisticated AI? But something about the phrasing, the knowledge embedded in the system, told him otherwise. This was Hale. A new file opened, containing years of government surveillance data, old top-secret projects, and encrypted files labeled with names Liam didn't recognize. Hale hadn't just survived, he had disappeared to expose something far greater than himself. Liam tried to reach him, but every attempt at communication was met with silence. Instead, the system left traces, subtle cues, hidden messages in plain text, instructions in code. Slowly, painfully, Liam realized the truth: Hale had transcended physical existence. He had become something else, an entity in the digital ether, moving through servers and networks. The thought was terrifying. And exhilarating. Back in his apartment, Liam stared at the screens late into the night. Every ping of his network, every unusual login, made him jump. He began seeing anomalies outside work too, strange email patterns, files mysteriously corrupted and restored, timestamps that didn't match reality. It was as if Hale, or what he had become, was watching, guiding, testing. Then, one morning, a message appeared on his primary terminal. Short. Simple. Terrifying. Liam. Remember. You can never unsee what you found. Unsigned. But he knew. It was Hale. From that point on, Liam stopped trying to trace the digital footprints. He watched, documented, and learned. He understood the most frightening truth: some presences cannot be killed, cannot be erased, and cannot be reasoned with. They move silently through systems, leaving whispers in the code. Weeks turned into months. Liam's life became a ritual of observation. Friends stopped calling. Emails went unanswered. Even family became distant. All that mattered was the trail, the code, and the presence that lurked just beyond comprehension. Sometimes, in the quiet of the night, he would catch glimpses of the code shifting unnaturally, almost as if it were alive. And when he stared too long, he felt a presence behind his screen, patient, waiting, aware. Liam never saw Nathan Hale in person again. He never knew whether the man, or the consciousness that had once been him, was friend or foe. But the digital traces remained, and with them, an unshakable understanding: some things that die never truly vanish. As Liam stared at the flickering cursor one last time, he realized the truth of the message he had received all those nights ago. The ghost in the code was real. And it had found him. Because once something exists in the network, once it moves beyond flesh and bone into lines of infinite possibility, it doesn't stay quiet for long. Sometimes, it watches. Always, it waits. And one day, it will reach out.